Right, welcome to the land of the giants. Bit of an overstatement, but we have got some big leaves coming and some interesting looking plants. So we'll have a quick look round. This is what I call the hothouse. So if anyone who hasn't seen the videos, it is literally a conservatory I built last year on a sunken area that used to be my pond. It gets very warm in here. Anyway, so we'll start off in this corner. We've got some carnivorous plants, various Sarracenia and Venus flytraps, that sort of thing. We have some divisions of the Colocasias I'm growing, various different types there in various stages of growth. Don't need to focus on that too much. We've got a lot of sort of tropical palms in here and all sorts like that. A lot of Colocasias and Alocasias. We've got a Alocasia Giant here, which is just opened up this leaf, and you know, it's a reasonable size, probably 1.5 foot, but these will certainly have the potential to get considerably bigger, up to sort of 6 foot plus. I do have another one here. This is actually one I purchased from eBay just a couple of weeks ago, and has done very well. It's opened up 2 leaves since this came. So when it came, I think the biggest leaf was this one, and since then we've got considerably bigger, and even to the point where we actually got a little baby coming out. So that's not uncommon. I have had that before. They don't always pup, the Thai giants, but yeah, that's not unheard of. This one is, so potentially at the end of the season I could divide that and have another plant. Again, so a lot of tropical palms. I mean, I'll probably do an update midsummer about the different palms and what's doing well and what's not doing so well. Like I say, a lot of Alocasias. I do like the elephant ears. Got some unusual varieties. Just a little update. So I had brought some bulbs or corms from Farmer Gracie. They all grew quite well, but this is one that's taken nearly 3 months to push out the leaf. So this is the Aloca Beauty, which is a caladium, but some people call it an Alocasia, and we can see that the leaf is now starting to open with the dots there. They're quite nice, so when that opens up and starts growing properly, we'll have a proper look at that, because that's quite a nice plant, that one. So again, with the Alocasias, this one is Regal Shield, which actually has been left in here over winter, so it did get cold. It did die right back, so this is the original growing points here, sort of 2 trunks which died back, and since then we have loads of new growth all the way around. So that is a story with Alocasias. If they do die back, they're not totally dead, they're just gone dormant, and they will come back for you in the right conditions with the right heat. Another plant that was really slow going, I brought this right at the beginning of spring. This is the one of these what's the word, sort of Voodoo Lily types. Here we go. So I bought this when it was just a pot, just an empty pot, and that's taken about 2 to 2.5 months to get going. And I came in the hothouse one day, and the place stunk like something had died. Totally forgot about this, so I pushed out the flower first, and then the foliage after. So yeah, for a couple of days they do stink. They're called corpse lilies for a reason. They do smell like rotten meat. But yeah, so this is a bit of an unusual type where they're sort of more of an elephant ear shape to the leaf rather than a lot of them. The other ones are very different sort of shapes or more palmate, but these are quite unique in the sort of elephant ear shape style leaf. We've got our Alocasia lutea, which is like the gold. Got the gold veins on the leaves, so this has been quite a slow start, but now it is starting to go. It is pushing several leaves. I mean, I've got several plants in here again, so I could divide them up. There's actually 5 plants in there, so when they get a bit bigger I may well divide. So I have done a couple of hanging baskets in here, just for sort of more high level of interest at height. And we've got Nepenthes here, which is one of these sort of picture plants, and we've got some nice pictures on them. They're coming along quite nicely, and just sort of we've got some sweet potato vines in these, along with some pothos, and we've got some purple heart tradescantia in that one with a sweet potato vine as well. And the beauty of this is they're not quite directly, but I've got a misting system over them, so they get watered for a minute every hour, so they never dry out. And yeah, so I don't need to water them. Right, so again, just to look at some of the highlights. So again, this is a Alocasia odora, which I bought again from eBay a couple of weeks ago, and since I repotted it, that's boshed out this leaf. So again, it's sort of double the size of the last leaf, looking really good, and starting to push a new leaf again. So I think that's going to be quite a vigorous, nice grower, that one. And this one has really impressed me. So if you missed the video last week about the variegated plant haul, this is the Moa Florida, and really quite special variegation on these. They really are one of my favourite types of variegation. There's good chunks and sort of free tricolour, if you like. So we've got the base green of the leaf, we've got like a mint green, and then we've got the white bands as well. So really do look quite special in my eyes. I really do like that. So when this plant came, let's say literally a week ago today, and it had one leaf, which is this one. So we can see that's been through the post, so still holding up fairly well. So within 1 week we've pushed out this leaf, looking really good, and we're working on a second already. So quite impressed with that. That's going to be nice when it's got 3 or 4 leaves on that. That'll look real good. Really happy with that. Don't regret buying that. I mean, some plants, especially sort of more expensive ones, sometimes you think, well, did I really need it? Was it worth it? Well, for me, this one is definitely worth it. That's a really interesting leaf on that. What else we got? Let's have a look at this one here. So this one is commonly sold as Mickey Mouse Alocasia, but it's not an Alocasia. It is actually a Xanthosoma, which is kind of in the elephant ear family. Bit of a strange one on these. You get a bit of a weird deformed leaf on these, sort of a end tassel to it, almost sort of elephant ear shape, but sort of ruffled. But the attraction of these is you get that sort of variegation as well, and each leaf is different. Now pushing out a new leaf, so we'll see what the next one does, but quite interesting. And we've got a little baby coming on that as well. But yeah, I quite like that. Something a bit different. Right, so we started off saying Land of the Giants, so I've just done a video on some colocasias outside. So these are going to be some of the same species, but growing inside, so we'll see the size difference. So specifically we've got 3 types we've got outside at the moment, no, 4 types outside at the moment, and if you watch that video and then watch this one or vice versa, you'll see the size difference. And I suppose we better start off the big one. This is one I'm growing outside, which is very small at the moment, but this is the Jax Giant. So I did do a video on this a couple of weeks ago. It has pushed out this leaf since, pushing 3 foot across, nearly 4 foot long, quite large. Interestingly, it opened so quick, grew so quick, it's almost got the leaves split in a couple of places where it just grew too quick for itself. Yeah, leaf previous was still quite big, but yeah, definitely still getting bigger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a thumbnail on for this video of me standing between the 2 leaves to get an idea of size next to the average size person, so you can really appreciate the size. But yeah, really are, you see my little hand, really are large, and that is now pushing a new leaf. And we did have a pup growing on this Jax Giant, which I took off, and since then we've got another one pop out, which is this one here, and a couple more at the side, so I may well take them off when they get a little bit bigger as well. So yeah, you won't get this sort of size outside in the UK, but that is the potential for these plants. I'd say the second biggest leaf at the moment for Alocasia wise is the Maui Gold, and this one's just opened up, and well, probably around 2 foot, well over a foot across. Nice big limey green coloured leaves. Again, one of my favourites. Just I'd like the colour and the leaf shape. So that is one that is very, very vigorous, and I've already removed a lot of the pups from this, and yet there's still probably 3 or 4 in that clump, and similar this side. So yeah, again, very impressive. Right, let's move to the Redemption. So again, we looked at this one outside, the leaves were quite small, so that was just a division off this main plant. The downside to growing the Redemption in here for me is 2 drawbacks. So not everything's perfect. One, I don't know if you can see on the leaf there, if it's come up on the camera, but you get the watermarks from the constant misting, which you need, because otherwise you'll be overrun by spider mites. You get that hard watermark on the leaf, which is very frustrating. But again, because that's misting every hour, that's kind of, when they're wet you don't see it, so that sort of washes it off, and as they dry that comes back. Obviously more noticeable on the darker leaf varieties. Yeah, so that's the first drawback. And the second drawback is because this a kind of a filtered light in here, we get the morning sun comes up here, so we get full morning sun through the window, but come mid-morning and all afternoon we've got a polycarbonate roof on this, so it is a filtered light, it's not direct light, so it is a dappled light, and the leaves don't get as dark as they would outside. So outside I expect these to be a sort of glossy, almost black, and in here we're getting a very dark green, and we're not getting a true pink. So I mean, it's not the true representation of this plant, because they do look stunning when they're in full sun. So I have got a couple grown in here, so I'm gonna which I took propagations from this plant. So I'm going to get them to a good size, and then maybe in a few weeks I'll go outside and we'll see the true representation of the colours on them. because like I say, the leaves are stunning. These aren't giant leaves on these, and I'll look out. Yeah, I forgot the timer's just come on for the misting system, so if I stay in the centre here, I'm okay, because that's all sort of the centre walkway doesn't get sprayed. It's only the plants on the outer edges, and it's probably not showing up on camera, but it's literally a fine mist coming through everywhere at the moment. It won't last long. I don't know if it's affecting the audio. We'll just let that pass. Like I say, it's literally only on for a minute, but what that does do is just raise the humidity up, especially on hot days like we've been having this week, where it's 25 degrees outside. If I didn't have all the windows and doors open, that could be 45-50 degrees in here. So obviously with the windows open and the door open, we tend to dry out quick in here, which is, I need to keep the humidity level, otherwise again overrun by spider mites. Anyway, so that's now turned off. Does a good job of keeping everything humid. Right, so we've got Pharaoh's mask. So again, got this one outside, very small division of this plant. I said it was a 3D leaf. They always seem to want to open up away from me, but that's the sort of leaf we're getting. So I mean, barely a foot long, that leaf, but you grow that for the unusual 3D effect of the leaf. Right, so yeah, so that's some of the giant plants, but let's have a look at, I know when I come in here the first thing I see is obviously the big leaves. They're the things that take your attention, but there's a lot of nice plants in here which maybe get overlooked because of the bigger leaves. I have got this ginger lily here. This is Dr. Moa, which is one I grow in the garden, which never, it's tough, it survives, it regrows, gets about 3 foot in the garden, never flowered. In here, this is already nearly 6 foot tall. So again, like a lot of plants, needs the heat. You can see that sort of nice streaky variegation that I do quite like that. Yes, what else we got? We've also got a Kentia palm at the back here, and interestingly, not that you can see it, but at the back corner there, we've got a Philodendron decursifer, which is very similar looking to a Monstera deliciosa, but the leaf structure is a bit different. But yeah, and we have got a Monstera this side. So when I planted this up, I tried to sort of mirror the sides, so they're sort of similar plants each side, not exactly the same, because like I say, we've got a ginger lily here, variegated, and then I've got a different type here, which is like a shell ginger, but still very nice, quite like that as well. And obviously we've got some caladiums, frog in a blender there. Yeah, so down in the sort of under the canopy, if you like, we have got some spider plants, a couple of small Alocasia coming back from last year. Got a crocodile fern there, which is doing okay. And this side, we've got bird's nest fern. You can see that right in there. Right, so we did have one casualty over winter. So as we can see at the back here, we've got like a giant bird of paradise behind this Jax Giant's leaf, and that one, no problem, pushed out a couple of leaves this summer. One this side, for whatever reason, didn't make it. Probably got dripped on a bit too much and rotted off, so that one is dead. Not too concerned, there's enough other foliage going on to not worry about that too much. Just trying to think if there's anything I've missed before I let you all go. I think that's going to do it for now. We'll leave it on the mandanilla or medanilla. Nice flowers on that. The coconut palm survived the winter no problem, but it's not enjoying life anymore. I did repot it. I weren't in a very good mix. I've got it in more of a free draining mix now, so I'm hoping that, well, there is a very small new spear coming here, and this leaf hopefully will start growing a bit better. So that's been a bit slow, which is surprising because that's been quite warm in here for the last couple of months. Right, that'll do for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.